I'm not sure where the trail went. It was here a minute ago. I swear it was. My flashlight is dying. The beam stutters like it's struggling to breathe, casting broken shards of light through the trees. The forest is too quiet now. Not peaceful, quiet, wrong, quiet. Senam, and I keep hearing something. Something's following me. But it's not behind me, it's in front of me. It just hasn't turned around yet. The air has this weight to it, like I'm walking underwater. Every step feels noticed. Not watched, noticed. That's worse. I passed a formation of rocks minutes ago, or hours ago. I can't tell, but the second time I saw them, something was different. The moss had been torn away, raw stone exposed like old bone. Symbols were carved into them, circles inside of circles, slashed through at odd angles. Like someone was undoing something rather than marking it. One line had been scratched separate from the rest, jagged, frantic, smeared with something darker than dirt. No symbols this time, just a sentence. Don't listen to the second voice. I didn't understand what it meant then. I think I do now, but it's probably too late. It was supposed to be a break from everything. Just me, a borrowed tent, and for days in the deep woods of off script, and out of my own damn head. I loaded up the back of my car with more gear than I needed, packed 3 kinds of jerky, and even brought that old drone I hadn't flown since college. For the first time in months, my phone wasn't lighting up with work emails or doomscroll notifications, just one dusty GPS file on an offline map app. And the sound of the highway fading behind me. The air smelled like pine and wet dirt. The kind of quiet that makes your bones feel a little less brittle. I stopped at the general store an hour outside the trailhead to grab a water filter and a fresh lighter. The man behind the counter looked up when I mentioned where I was going. "You camping past the East Pass?" he asked, tapping a receipt with yellowed fingers. "Thinking about it," I said. "Kite hurt. It's less trafficked." He squinted. "Yeah, there's a reason. Teeth. That side isn't ours." I laughed, thought it was local folklore. Every rural town's got its stories, right? He didn't laugh back, just rang me up and said, "Best head west by sundown." I told myself he was just being dramatic, and anyway I'd camped here before. Different trails, different season, still woods, still trees. I should have asked more questions about that side. About 3 hours in, I noticed the same broken tree on the left side of the trail for the second time. The bark peeled vertically, like something had clawed it, not a bear, not wind, something intentional. I marked it mentally. Didn't think much of it at first, but then I passed it a third time. Exactly the same angle, same shape in the mud to the right, same knot in the branch above it that looked like a twisted grin. I backtracked for a while. I tried to. The trail forked where it shouldn't have. My offline map wouldn't load properly when it finally did. The screen glitched, flickered, then went black. For a second, it came back and showed the date as 22/9. It wasn't a typo. It was clocked forward, like something had skipped me ahead. I heard snapping in the distance just behind me, but never closer. Tick, the kind of sound you want to write off as wildlife, except it didn't fade or grow, it just followed. Then there was the Red Cross flag, yellowed, torn, stuck in the ground beside a weather-rotted pack. No name tag, no ID, just a small iron pot and a pair of boots that still stood upright, like someone had stepped out of them and vanished. A little further on, I found the deer. It was lying on its side, eyes wide open, no flies, no smell, no wounds except for a sharp incision near the jaw, like someone had peeled back the skin, but clean, clinical. What got me was the lack of blood, none on the forest floor, none in the fur. That's when I realized the silence had changed. It was too quiet, not just peaceful. Dead. No birds, no wind, no insect buzz. Even my boots weren't crunching, the fallen leaves the same. My breath came louder in my ears. The trees began to show faint streaks, like discoloration, lines that, when really studied, looked too smooth to be weather. Some were circles, some spiraled in on themselves. I kept walking, and I didn't realize that nothing had made a sound in over an hour. I crested a hill and stopped dead. There, in the clearing beyond the tree line, was a campsite. My campsite, same green ridge tent, same fold table and red propane canister. Even the same fire pit pattern I'd built that morning, trading rocks until I got the hexagon just right. But this version of it had been here a while. The tent was sun-bleached, streaked with mold. One corner collapsed inward. The table was cracked and thin with age, and the canister had rusted through at the base. I hadn't even made camp yet. For a second I stood there, waiting for the image to resolve, like maybe my brain had flipped something. Optical illusion, right? But then I stepped closer. The air shifted cold, damp. The flap of the tent was open, barely hanging onto its zipper. Gear looked identical to mine. Same brand of sleeping bag, same mess kit. One of the cooking pans even had the same dent I got when I dropped it on a rock 2 summers ago. Everything was degraded and wrong. Leaning against the tent wall was an old, rain-warped Polaroid. It was me standing in the woods, same jacket, same backpack. Only the photo was faded, colors washed out like it had been sitting here for years. I don't remember taking it, ever. Tucked into a Ziploc bag beneath the photo was a field journal, canvas-bound, a little torn on the corner. I opened it and nearly dropped it, my handwriting. But I hadn't written a word of it. The first few pages were trails and thoughts I didn't recognize, but the tone was off. Uneasy. By the halfway mark, the entries turned frantic, disjointed thoughts. Sketches of runes I'd just seen hours ago. And a repeating line near the end. They don't follow you, they remember you. It's not the trees. It's what they remember. I touched the last page and had a flash images like a dream burned in reverse. Nightfall, campfire, someone shouting my name. My own voice, wrong, distorted, distant. Had I been here before? I suddenly wasn't sure if this was my first trip through these woods, or my last. That night, the forest breathed differently. The temperature dropped faster than my gear accounted for. I built a small fire, just enough to keep close, then retreated to the tent with the journal, rereading the strange entries until the words blurred. Around midnight, something passed outside the nylon wall. Not stepped, not stomped, but glided. The kind of movement your brain flags before your ears do. No footfall, no breath, no crunch of brush, just the feeling of something knowing where you were and brushing slightly against the veil of protection you'd built. I held still, listened. Then I heard my name. Hey, the voice said, warm and familiar, too familiar. It used my name, but it used my sister's voice. She wasn't here. She hadn't come. No one had. Still, she said it again. Hey, are you awake? But it wasn't just the tone. It was exact. Cadence. Exact static puff on the K. From a conversation we had in her dorm room 10 years ago. I never recorded it. Never wrote it down. Still, whatever was outside, knew. A silence stretched, then it spoke again. But this time it wasn't her voice, it was mine. Can I come in? It said. Gentle dot. I didn't even breathe. Then I heard my friend's zipper his tent. One sound. No voice. I whispered through the wall. You good? No answer. Just a night, too thick now to breathe in. Khan, from beyond the brush. Don't answer a voice that sounds too familiar. I don't know when the second voice started it. Wasn't like the first, no mimicry, no false comfort. This one was neutral, cold in a way that almost felt safe, like it didn't care if I followed, but it knew I would. Don't look back, it said once. Follow the river, you're closer than you think. There was no mouth, no body, just language injected into the back of my mind like it had always been there, buried beneath real thoughts. I wanted to resist, but I was exhausted. The woods had twisted again, the sky was still black, but my watch said noon, the fire wouldn't light. My food tasted like ashdod, so I walked downhill toward the sound of running water I never noticed before. The voice never pushed, just commented. It told me which routes to avoid, where the slope was unstable. It started to feel helpful, and then it said, that warning wasn't meant for you. You're not like them. You're still thinking. That's good. I wanted to ask what that meant, whether them meant the voices or the victims. That's when I found the clearing. Piles, not random, arranged small heaps of broken compasses, shattered phones, cracked binocular lenses bleached under sun that didn't shine here, bits of camping gear fused with rusted, multi-tools, dot and bone, clean, curved, human. I turned around to leave and realized the river was gone. The voice hadn't spoken in minutes, and now the forest was watching. The forest dropped into absolute stillness. Even the wind fell, paused. That's when I saw it, at the edge of a hill where the trees thinned. There was something standing where nothing should be, a structure, perfectly still, blacker than the space between stars. Not wood, not stone, smooth like oil poured into shape. It was tall, narrow, wrong, not ancient, not futuristic, just other. Embedded between two dead trunks, it pulsed faintly, a slit of light flickering through its center like it was trying to remember how to stay. Hidden, the voice came back. Enter the second place, leave the first behind. I didn't want to, I really didn't. But something opened in me. Not a round meal, like there was no choice at all. My foot moved before I decided. My hand lifted. The light inside the monolith widened as I stepped through. There was no sound, no burst of color, just a moment of falling, and then dash flashes me, building the fire, me, passing the dead deerbot from above. Me standing over that same monolith, watching myself walk in. I saw my own back leaving camp. Only I never remembered standing there, Kirot, watching from that spot. One of me had red laces in my boots. I don't own boots with red laces. I blinked, and it was gone. The clearing, the structure, even the slope I'd walked down. I was back at my campfire, smoldering. Bag right where I left it, at least. I thought I was, but the journal was gone. The trees looked older, and the sky seemed closer. I made it back, I think. The parking lot was the same. My car hadn't moved. My phone powered on when I got close, like nothing had happened. No missed calls, no alerts. But the GPS still marks me in the forest. No matter where I go, coffee shop, home, even work, it pins me to that same trail, right between the Red Cross flag and the monolith. And then there's the journal. It was in my backpack when I unpacked. The canvas cover, the torn corner, my handwriting core, the version of it that never quite matches my real strokes. Only now, it writes back. Sometimes while I'm sleeping this morning, my phone screen glitched red for half a second, just long enough for a message to burn in. Your location is being tracked. I haven't turned it on since dot. The voice doesn't speak anymore, but it doesn't need to. Last night, The moon flickered, Dot, the moon. And for the briefest moment, I remembered the shape of the trees in perfect geometric alignment, the hum that bent inward, the static that formed my name. If the moon flickers again tonight, don't look at it, it'll think you. Remember, and that's when it comes back.